Hello.
Hello.
She points at me. Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday evening. I am Ken. Should we wait? Are we waiting for people to join?
I think we should wait because there's not
It
one
may never
person
happen.
on. Three people!
Just because there's nobody on doesn't mean
Yes.
they're going to be on.
That's okay. Hi, guys.
So it's Sunday,
It is Sunday.
day that follows Saturday,
Yes. Yes.
and we're on
We're
Facebook Live.
we're doing great, I think, so far. Hi, Forever family. We're very excited to be with you. We actually have a pretty, I don't know, I think it's a pretty compelling night.
If I do say
so myself. But first, we'll go ahead and identify. So go ahead.
I am a grateful believer in Jesus who's struggling with anger, codependence, and control and compulsive eating. My name's Ken.
Hi, Ken. My name is Meaghan. I'm a grateful believer. I'm in recovery for codependency, perfectionism, and compulsive behavior.
Hi, Meaghan.
Hi.
Hi, Nikki.
So, hi, everybody. I saw Alan's on there, too. Hi. So, recovery really is a family affair. If one member goes into recovery, the whole family can be impacted. If the whole family finds freedom and healing in recovery and in the power of Jesus Christ, it can really revolutionize a family. So we're going to do something that we haven't done. We've brought our kids on before to do the Serenity Prayer with us. Yeah. And then for our home Celebrate Recovery at Saddleback Church on Friday nights, we have our own large group. And our kids will help us because they were in the place with us.
They were.
Because everyone else was not with us.
Because they live here.
They live here, so they do the 8
studio.
principles and the Serenity Prayer and things like that. And our daughter did give her mini Moni a few weeks ago. But what we're going to do tonight is we're going to talk about how recovery affected our family.
Right, and raising a family in the midst of Celebrate Recovery and of recovery, or at least the parents in recovery, which we have been and are.
So not only am I a ministry leader, and Ken was our landing leader and our worship leader at our previous Celebrate Recovery, and now he's the tea coach. And but we're also parents, and I grew up in a family that had dysfunction and had addiction in my family, and grew up with that. And when I came to a saving faith in Jesus at 21 with 2 years of sobriety, and we got married, and it's going to be our 28th wedding anniversary coming up.
If we make it to August.
If we make it, we don't know. But
that's like what, a week?
That's like
we can do it.
2 weeks. I'm pretty confident that we can do it. But I had really wanted to do everything right. I wanted to raise our children perfectly. I didn't want to have any dysfunction in our family. And that actually is an expression of dysfunction. And I had some real painful impact in our family. And that's hard, but we have found healing through Celebrate Recovery.
And I will say that we sort of have had 2 parenting experiences. And the first one being as Christians. I think it's awesome that I am not the ultimate authority, and that I don't have to say because I said so to my children. I probably do say that. They'll come on here and tell you that I'm totally lying, but I don't think that is the ultimate authority, is me or you or but that Jesus is, and that we were able to say that from early on, and to help them understand and help us understand that Jesus is the reason we're making these decisions. And I think it's been really freeing for me, I know, as a parent, in that it's not all on me, right? I mean, it's not all up to me to decide which direction the family is going to go and what we're going to believe and where the line is, because the line's already been drawn for me and for us.
Yeah, and I think, but also we found in faith that we needed recovery. And when we started in Celebrate Recovery over 5 years ago, our Celebrate Recovery didn't have a landing or a celebration place. And if you're new with us, those are our pre-recovery programs. So not every Celebrate Recovery can have them just because of resources or whatever that Celebrate Recovery looks like. But a lot of Celebrate Recoveries have childcare, so people can go as a family. But our first year, we didn't have Celebration Place, and we didn't have the landing. And Celebration Place is for kids kinder through 6th grade, and the landing is for 7th through 12th grade. So we've had our kids, since we've been doing it, our kids have experienced, some of our kids, well, our youngest has experienced both the celebration place and the landing. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to stop yapping and I'm going to invite our youngest to come and have a conversation with Ken. So here you go, Dylan.
Hey, it's your boy.
Hey, what's up? It's me.
You want to tell people who you are?
Yeah, hello. I am Dylan. I am the youngest son of these beautiful people you can't see. My mother is off screen.
It's
but
true.
Yeah, I am
It's
the
true.
youngest. And
And you are in what grade?
I am in...
You used to be a
I have
freshman.
no clue. It's all merging together, to be honest.
This is COVID schooling. He has no clue what grade he's in anymore.
Doesn't really matter,
Doesn't
though.
even have any teachers. It's just anonymous. Okay, so
Yeah.
he is a freshman
I
in
think.
high school,
Wait,
right?
but I just completed freshman year. So when
Yes, you just completed your freshman year. So I guess you're a sophomore, huh?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, so you started when we started our Celebrate Recovery at our other church. You started in Celebration Place, but not as a participant in Celebration Place. What did you do with the little kids?
I was like a child care person. I'm not sure what the correct terminology is, but I essentially just like kept the kids in line.
So you were like a leader,
Yeah,
an
yeah.
assistant to the leaders. at
Yeah,
Celebration.
essentially.
Do you remember any of what? I don't want to even say what went on in that room because that's dangerous. Do you remember any of the lessons that you helped with Celebration Place or anything like that?
One in particular stands out to me. It was like we got a bunch of paper plates and we like drew faces on them, and those were the masks that we put up and all that stuff. Like that one in particular, I remember like that, but I don't remember the specifics of it.
Okay, so the lesson might have been like what masks you have make a sad face behind it, but it's a happy face mask,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I thought was really cool about Celebration Place when it started, and I realized that at least one night a week that kids were going to get to identify how they were feeling about what was happening,
Right.
and that was pretty cool. So then when we started the landing, then you got to participate in the landing.
Yeah, and once I actually moved up from middle school into like the required grade group.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it was a great experience.
What was the best part? And I can guess at what I think, but what was the best part in your mind of being part of the landing?
First off is the people, but that's mainly because I was living there for like, I knew those people since I was like young.
Right.
But the second thing is that Open Share is a really good like place to come to once you don't know how you're feeling.
Okay.
Because at least this is all coming from what a functional group should look like, because there are such things as dysfunctional groups, but they're usually places where you can come to and say your thoughts and feelings without being judged, criticized. Like, people won't look at you as a problem,
Got it.
and that's what makes it special.
And did you have that place before the landing? Like, did it exist anywhere else besides that?
Not really. Or, yeah, not really, because I had friends, I could confide in them, but at the same time, it doesn't, like, it comes with way more security than telling it to a random person, but in that group, there's just something about it that it just feels safer than, even if you, well, I mean, not necessarily if you don't know those people, but it feels safer than to just talk with someone random about their problems.
Right.
Which-
Because of the guidelines and because of your
Yeah.
friends aren't going to try to fix you or anything like that.
Right.
So what about we moved, right? And we moved here to Orange County.
Yeah.
Did the landing play a part in your connecting with your new place to live?
I would say absolutely, because I obviously didn't have any friends. I'm pretty sure once I first moved here, I was sitting alone in this one nook at my school, and bunnies would come, and my family has
True
still
story.
not let go of it, but just meeting those people, it allowed me to slowly, be, alright, this place isn't that bad. It allowed me to get comfortable with my environment.
Let you exchange some bunny friends for actual friends.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
don't
thank you,
dare talk
Dylan.
about grade
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We'll let
Thank
Mom
you,
come
thank
back
you.
in.
I'm surprised proud of him. He did so well.
I know, right?
Our landing at Saddleback, we're meeting outside following social distancing and things, and we have a really great landing team. You know, the thing about the landing is it doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be tons and tons of kids. It can be a few kids, a small group of under 20, where the kids are connected, and they did a whole thing with copper and bracelets, and they had the kids pounding on the copper, and they were outside again, social distanced, and then they all presented them with copper bracelets with their names on them, and they really likened it to the 4-step, and how the 4-step can be so difficult and really is pounding out impurities and things like that, but at the end you have something beautiful. And so that was just something our team came up with, because we have a shortened time, a condensed time, and
I didn't even give Dylan a chance to give a shout out to his team. And
yes,
Brittany, awesome.
Brittany, we love you.
All
right. So we are actually going to talk about that transition from the landing to adulthood, and we're going to talk to our daughter. And when I say we, it's going to be me. Yeah. So,
Okay.
It's getting real here. Okay, so tell us who you are.
I'm Caitlin. I'm a grateful believer in Jesus, in recovery for shame and codependency.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hi.
Hi. We were actually watching a show with Dylan the
gosh.
other day. and it was kind of a family, but the family was dysfunctional for sure.
Well, that's the best TV, of course.
Of course. So tell him what Dylan said. Do you remember what Dylan said?
He said something,
looked at me like-
something along the lines of, he pauses the show, he goes, Mom, you know what? I know you're dysfunctional, but I'm glad you're not that dysfunctional. Talking about the mom in the show.
And I was like, Dylan, he goes, no, I mean it as a compliment. I was like, that's worse, actually. So we keep it real in the Grotto House, let's say that. So, Caitlin, you are how old?
I'm 19 years old.
She's 19 years old.
We're not very good at remembering our ages.
No, we're really not. So tell me a little bit about growing up in our family pre-recovery. What was that like? What was your experience?
I think that it's easy to say that recovery came for our family at a perfect time, obviously because it was God's timing. In terms of my timing, it could not have been worse, frankly. It was very unfortunate, because I think as a child, what I needed to hear was the reaffirming beliefs that come with Celebrate Recovery, right? You're loved, you're seen, all those types of things. But by the time our family found recovery, which was when I had just entered high school, I didn't necessarily I still needed to hear those things, but my character defects had become so much of my character, where it took a lot longer for those things to actually reach my heart. And by the time I think you and Dad had really been working your recovery, it actually was not as beneficial as I had hoped it had been, because I know by the time you and Dad had reached out to make amends to me for things about financial fear and things about codependency, right? I had already built my life on that in high school in a way that was very beneficial, right? I didn't want your amends about, I'm sorry that we spend money this way, because it was on me. I had
I want you to spend money.
Yeah, I'm sorry for my codependent behavior. I'm not, because it got me out of a lot of situations that I put myself in. You know what I mean? So it was perfect timing in terms of, I'm so glad that I am where I am now. But I think that it was harder for me. It was much easier for me to take in the new behavior, or to learn this is what God wants for me, this is what recovery looks like for our family. But it was so difficult to unlearn the behavior of, you don't get what you want whenever you want it.
Right. And sometimes the things that we want are coming from places that are not healthy for us. So tell me a little bit about your experience in the landing. I know you went through the steps, and I know you had some hesitation about the steps, but connection and that. Tell me a little bit about that process.
Well, first, when we say recovery is a family affair, I feel like it really was for me in the landing, just because my dad was one of my landing leaders, and I was in it with my older brother, Steven, and then as soon as he had graduated out of it, I was in it with my younger brother. So it was very much a family affair.
Whether you
Very
liked it or not.
So. Yeah. But in terms of my own experience there and what it looked like for me to walk through the steps was super beneficial and super eye-opening, especially growing up. I know you had mentioned that for you wanted to raise a family where you didn't want to put us through the same things you went through as a child, and that meant putting on a happy face, and that meant living a different way, but it didn't matter if we were, as long as we looked like we were. And so that's what makes the fourth and fifth step so scary, especially for me growing up wearing that mask, is, well, what does it look like to take that off and to tell these kinds of things to another adult?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think too, like when I identify with perfectionism, I know we don't have an issues pamphlet for it, but really it's an addiction to doing everything right. And that's not a way of whitewashing a character defect. That's like legitimately can almost destroyed my life and almost destroyed my family's life, and created this environment where my kids felt like, because we were on ministry staff and because, that they couldn't do anything wrong. And that is not what God has for us, right? He wants us to live an authentic life, but it came at a time that was hard. And then all of your landing leaders were either on church staff with us or had known us forever, or your dad. So it was complicated. And I think, tell me a little bit about what the transition has looked like for you, because you were in the landing for 3 years. And then you graduated, became an adult, went off to school. So what is that transition? Because I think it's hard for people to transition.
Yeah, it was. Thank you.
You're
right there. It was hard to transition. But I think I talked about it a little bit in my testimony. I think one of the most important things that I learned, which at the time I don't even think I realized I was learning, it was just kind of what I did was I just showed up on Friday nights because I felt like that was what was expected of me.
So you weren't dying to get to the landing, is what I'm hearing?
No, if any of my old landing leaders are watching, I was dying to go to the landing.
Right.
But, and then when I didn't, it was very much me wearing a mask, where it was still, I know my landing leaders knew where I was on a Friday night when I wasn't at the landing, but we weren't going to talk about it, and I certainly wasn't going to talk about it. But, I kind of transition.
Yeah,
I talked about it a little bit in my testimony, where the most important thing that I learned that I didn't realize I was learning was just how to sit with pain and how to sit in something that's uncomfortable and realize, okay, this is not in my control. And I learned that from sitting in open share group, where I was like, this is horrible, and it literally says in the rules that no one can fix me, and I'm just telling you guys all my feelings, and no one's gonna fix me? Like, I thought we're supposed, okay, that's fine. But I feel like that meant so much to me later on, where those seeds were planted when I was later in college and there was no one to fix me.
Right, because the thing about family and recovery is it's not like all of a sudden your family is fixed, because there's pain and there's trauma, and then there's also our decisions. We are progress, not perfection. We are continue to work on the steps. And I think, for you walking through some of the things that you've had to walk through in the past year, which is a lot for anyone, and then not to have an escape that wasn't good for you.
Right. Or to even know, even just to have the knowledge that what I was doing was escaping, or that, you know what I mean? Because it was much easier to walk through life just being like, oh, I keep making these bad decisions. That really sucks. Like, why do I keep doing that? Oh, well. But then to actually, be processing that in a beneficial way, what I didn't realize was that it also meant that it's so much harder to go back to those things, because you're realizing that, okay, I'm doing this because of this, or I'm acting out because this is the emotion that's really under that. And that makes it a lot harder to just be a stupid college kid that just wants to forget about the things that are actually going on and just be a stupid college kid.
So what we're saying is the landing wrecks your college experience?
The best of ways. In the absolute best of ways. It wrecks what people tell you college should be, but it really, I feel like, forms your character in a way where college, for me at least, I feel like built upon what I learned in the landing.
Yeah. So what's it like for you now in terms of, is it just all like rainbows and lollipops for you at Celebrate Recovery, or what's, so we're going to be real, because that transition can be challenging.
Yeah.
So and also you've always had parents who are either leaders or ministry leaders.
Right.
So there's that added pressure of going as an 18 or 19-year-old young woman into an open share of participants who know that I'm the ministry leader and your dad's,
Right.
So What's that been like for you, honestly?
Like now, or
Yeah, like this before COVID, I should say, pre-COVID.
Yeah. I feel like just walking through what I walked through and learning what I learned in this past season, I feel like it's been such a shift in not doing things just because they're expected of me, but because it doesn't mean anything to God if I'm showing up and I'm not listening to what he might want me to be hearing, or I'm not, you know what I mean? If I'm going just because I feel like people should see me there, or because I feel like
I'm gonna
when you come home you're gonna be like, where was Caitlin? That doesn't shape my character in a beneficial way, and that doesn't do anything for me. And there are that means that some weeks I don't feel like going, and either I make the choice to go for myself and for my own recovery, or I don't, and I still made that decision for myself, but it was my decision.
Yeah, I love that, because that's what we all have to own our decisions, and knowing why we're doing what we're doing. What is our why? What's the action? What's the intention behind our action? So the summit's coming up, and you actually were at the summit last year live with us, and it's a little bit of a different. Do you have any summit memories or anything that you're excited about for the summit this year?
I'm super excited for the summit this year just to see how things turn out. I'm excited that I can go in my pajamas this year.
Because it's online.
I feel like that makes it awesome.
We don't have to get up at like 5 a.m.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything specific that I'm super excited for, as much as just seeing what's new and seeing, how our family is going to be involved, not to be seen, but to at least see where we started off, where I think last summit was our first summit when we had officially moved.
Yes.
Is that what it was?
Yes.
Right? So I think just realizing that we've made a home here, and we've made a home with Lake Forest Celebrate Recovery, and really that wherever we are, there's a Celebrate Recovery that we can call home.
Yes.
I think that's one I'm excited to see how that manifests in this year's summit.
And it's been really neat. The thing, we use the term forever family, and that doesn't mean that everybody always loves each other and Celebrate Recovery, because that's not normal. That's not life.
Yeah.
But it means that we're all for each other. And I know for us, coming here, and I know Cheryl Luke, you really love to connect with her, and with Jenny, and that Cheryl Baker and Carol, and that you have connected with women here who, you're not my daughter, you're Caitlin, and they connect with you. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you feeling good? You did it.
I know. I was so nervous. I was so nervous to talk to a camera. To talk to all of you. I'm sorry.
To all of you. It's okay. Thank you so much for joining us, Caitlin.
Sure.
Yeah.
In our home. You're welcome.
In our home. You're welcome. So obviously those are just experiences. We try to use, especially Ken and I, we try to use I, me statements. We try to share with you our experience. Not trying to shape anyone else's experience, just showing you how Jesus has used this program to transform us from the inside out. And the funny thing about our family is we probably don't look that different from the outside.
Right.
For people who have known us forever, we don't look that different. But the way we talk in our home it's hard. We talk through things, and there's times where I just don't want to talk through things when things are tough, or I want to make everything better, or I want my kids to love me, so I'll buy them a pair of shoes. But that doesn't work, and that's not healthy.
Or it was just easier to stuff something and stay at work, or find things to keep me busy and not have to deal with whatever was happening at home.
Well, it's even something as simple as sarcasm. Talk a little bit about talking about sarcasm and what that has done.
Yeah, actually, one of our children, I won't tell you who it was just telling us this afternoon about how they don't like that I say sarcasm is a form of anger, because for me that it really is. For me, that's how I attempt to communicate a desire for change in somebody else, is through sarcasm, and it's really a form of anger for me. And our kids pick that stuff up, and then they say it.
Well, and we tell them that too, and so it's we try to be funny here, and sarcasm is the way that we try to do that sometimes, and many times it's trying to express something that we're actually really feeling, but making a joke about it. And
True.
recovery has wrecked that for us in the best way.
Get it together, Grider.
Yeah, get it together, Griders. That's our life. So do you want to share some closing thoughts?
Yes, I'm glad you guys did touch on the summit because I am excited for that. And, there's sort of a buzz on the team and around Saddleback with what's going to happen and what's going to take place. Because there's a part of it that even we don't really
There's
know.
an unknown to it.
That we're excited to sort of see how it all comes together. And that part I appreciate because it's always... Even when it's live, it's always cool to sit in the audience and have Rodney go on stage and be like, "This is so great," or have Mac and Mary come up, or have, you know what I mean? And I haven't seen their talks, or even maybe you have, and then they do something completely different, and or put a twist on something, and you're just like, "Wow, this is so awesome." So there is a portion of that that's going to happen even online.
Well, and I think too, so many more people, this is affordable for them. They can go and they can watch it. And it's not just for leaders. There is going to be a lot for those of us that are leaders and serve, but it's also about us as individuals in this time, in this season. For such a time as now, God has chosen this season for COVID and put Celebrate Recovery exactly where he wanted us as a national ministry, and you and me as people in recovery. Because remember, there is this big thing, but there's also this personal focus of, I want to be a woman on my road to freedom. And so Celebrate Recovery offers that, and it starts young. It starts young with Celebration Place in the Landing. And again, it can't be, or it's not at every Celebrate Recovery, but we would want it to be because of what it's done for our family. Andy and Donna, our national team members for the Landing and Celebration Place, they're on Facebook Live, and they talk about this ministry. And so we can't talk about it as professionals, but we want to talk to you as family members, as parents, and what that has meant to us.
Right.
Yeah. So Summit, crsummits.com.
Over 50 states have registered.
Yeah, and 21 countries.
21 different countries.
How cool is that?
Over 10,000 people now. So it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, it's
really cool.
going to be really, really fun. So, did anybody have questions when you were over there looking at the phone?
I did not see any. There was a lot of how did Caitlin get so amazing with a dad like that?
Is that what happened?
I mean, they
is
wanted
that
to
what
know.
happened? We do have a third son. He's going to join us with our other kids with Serenity Prayer. Stephen, who just turned 22, he's had his own experiences. But you know what? The beautiful thing about a Celebrate Recovery is that your story is your story, and so you can share it if you want to, and there's no pressure to share it until God puts that pressure on. So that's why we didn't hear from Stephen tonight. We are all in different places in our life, and we want to honor that for ourselves, for our kids, and for you. So I think we're going to wrap up a little early and do the Serenity Prayer as a family. How does that sound? Uh-oh. Oh, sorry, there was just a spill. Come on, can we all squish in? Okay, come on, Stevie. You can be in. All right. Ready, guys?
Yeah.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking as Jesus did this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next. Amen.
I think I stepped on camera.
All right, okay, we're still going.
Thanks,
So
guys.
it's so good to see you. Have a great night.